I might start. Oh, there we go. Someone new. Hello. Thank you for coming to this talk, which I don't know why you came, because look at the title of it. You obviously want to feel depressed. I am Mike, and I started my own publishing label last year because of problems like this. When I normally do talks, if you've seen any of my talks on YouTube, you'll know they're quite depressing in general. I was just saying, actually, this is one of the least depressing ones I've done in a while. But I do have to start by saying that the majority of you in this room are going to fail, and basically, it's probably not your fault, at least not completely. It's just that it's really hard to make video games sell right now. It always kind of has been, but especially now, partially because there's so many of them, partially because people aren't buying as many games, or at least they're waiting for sales. I mean, we all know all the reasons, right? I think we've all read enough depressing things online about it. But yeah, because of that, it has become a lot harder, which is probably why you are here, because maybe you think I'm going to give you the answer. Maybe I will. I don't know. I can't promise you that. I'm Mike. I have been working in video games for a very long time. I used to write about games for a very long time. And then I was at a place called TinyBuild, who you might know for doing Punch Club and Hello Neighbor and games like that. Last year, I started No More Robots because I'm an egotistical maniac, and it's been going quite well. Basically, the whole idea of starting my own publishing label was that I thought that instead of, I get the impression some publishing labels are starting and are doing things that they just think are the right things to do, and then maybe they're not doing as well. And my plan was to start my own publishing label and do the things that I actually think are going to make games sell, like using maths, because I don't know what's wrong with me. The first game I worked on was Descenders by a lovely Dutch team called Rage Squid. That went quite well. And now I'm publishing a title called Not Tonight, which is an anti-Brexit game. Again, I know you've already worked out I'm crazy. And a game called Hypnospace Outlaw, which is essentially GeoCities the game. And I've got some other stuff as well, which I'm announcing soon. So everybody's looking for the thing that is going to make games sell, and we all know that there is no such thing, right? There is no silver bullet. So I'm going to tell you about my silver bullet now, which of course I don't actually have, but I have found that at least the things that I have been doing seem to be working quite well. I had a plan for how I was going to make a game sell, and I estimated roughly how many copies I thought that the game I was selling was going to sell, and it pretty much sold exactly the number of copies I thought it was going to. And yeah, it's just one game. I have been doing this for a while at TinyBuild. I was doing a lot of the same things that I'm now currently doing at No More Robots. It seemed like when I was at TinyBuild, we were making games sell as well. So I like to think that I've worked out something. Normally when I do these kind of talks, I try and just go through all the different, things that go through my brain and things that I think are important. In this one, I decided all I was going to do was just literally just go through my process and just give you the process that I do when I'm looking to sell a game from start to finish. And maybe you'll be able to apply parts of it to how you're selling your game. Maybe the whole thing will apply and you won't even need to come to me because I've pretty much just told you how I sell games. But yeah, hopefully this is going to be useful. The number one thing that I try to do is not base selling games on, I hope people are going to buy my game, which I think is what the majority of people do. And I think it's what we've always done. You just put your game out there and you keep tweeting about it, and maybe you try and get some press, and you hope when release day comes, someone's going to spot it and go, oh, I might buy that. That might have slightly worked in the past, but God, it does not work now at all. If you get to launch day and you're just basically just hoping people are going to buy your game, they're probably not, and then you're going to have a horrible time. So pretty much the majority of things I'm going to talk about are the things that I do before I launch a game that I do to try and remove as much of the risk as possible and make it so that I'm not basing everything on luck. It's nice to get a bit of luck at the end, to kind of bump sales up, but yeah, I'm going to basically talk about lots of things that I do that remove as much of that as possible. I did this little thing, I don't know, it looked kind of fancy when I did it, but it looks really dumb now. This is like how I see the process going through my head. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think this is like, whoa, I can't believe he's come up with this crazy thing. It's pretty simplistic, but this is everything in my head that I try to work out. I'm going to go through each of these 4 stages that I go through when I'm selling a game. But no, I think the most important thing on here is how long. 4 to 6 months. People ask me a lot, when should I announce versus when I'm going to launch the game? I think about 4 to 6 months is right. It might be different for AAA. I don't know about that. But for smaller studios, I think 4 to 6 is right because I have found, we did 8 with Descenders, and let me tell you, it dragged. Like there were points when I was struggling to keep people entertained. If I went back and did Descenders again now, I would do less time. And I have been for our next game. Not Tonight has launched, and it's roughly going to be about 5 months between announcement and that. Hypnospace as well, the next game as well. About 4 to 6 months for me, I think, is enough time where you are letting people know about your game. You've got enough time to do enough stuff to get them interested in between, but then they're not just losing interest and forgetting about your game afterwards. Right. So this is part 1. Part 1 is the announcement. I always say with the announcement that it is really important, but it's also not like the end of the world if it goes, not if it goes badly, but if it doesn't go fantastic. If when you announce your game it doesn't explode, I don't think that's the end of the world. The announcement is great for just starting to build the numbers. And I guess starting this whole cycle I'm talking about. Once you've announced it, it's out there. And all the things that come in between can then start to fall into place. The announcement for me is when I'm planning to announce a game, I'm thinking about what am I getting out of the announcement. It's not just like, how do I announce this game? What are people going to think about it? It's what do I want to actually come out of the announcement? Do I want these people to be interested in it? Do I want the trailer to get loads of views so I can then go take the trailer and give it to this person? I like to try and have a point in my head to an announcement that I can then springboard off of. Like I said, I would say no more than 6 months before. 4 to 6 is good. People always say, what should I have when I'm doing an announcement? I think you know. I think that's the answer I give. I think you know when you should announce, because I think you get to the point in your game where you're like, this is cool. Like that, I've actually got something now. If you're asking me, it's probably not time yet, because I think you'd know yourself. A lot of the time with the people I work with, there's a game that I signed last September that we haven't announced yet. And I'm actually announcing at the end of this month. So it's nearly been a year since I've been working with this person. And we haven't announced it yet because it hasn't been at the, I've always known it's a cool game, but it hasn't been at the, people are going to know this is cool stage yet. It is now, which is why we're doing it now and then planning for 4 to 6 months. And again, it kind of goes into the same point, but if you know it's cool, it's going to look cool in a trailer as well. And we'll come to the trailer in a second. Also note that the moment you announce it, you can't announce it and then piss off afterwards. You can't announce it and then be like, right, back to making the game. At that point, you are locked in, and you have to then, unless you've got a publisher who's going to do this for you, you then have to every single day be thinking about how you, no, well, not every day, but you have to be thinking regularly about how you're going to keep things going. And as the person who does this for a living, it's a nightmare. I say it's a nightmare. I really enjoy it for some reason, but I know most people don't. So just remember, the moment you do that, you're going to hate your life. Trailer. Right. This might be an over-exaggeration, but actually I don't think it is at all. This line at the top, I genuinely want you to ask yourself this. I remember when we were putting the Descenders trailer together, and I literally got to a point, it must have been like the 10th iteration or something, I was sat at my computer and I was like, oh shit, this is amazing. we've done it. We've actually done this. And it took forever, and we all hated each other by the end of it. We all wanted to, I mean, they were in the Netherlands, so we couldn't kill each other, but we probably would have. But I see a lot of people, they make the trailer, and quite honestly, they don't spend enough time on it. They maybe put some music over it, which is kind of spacey, because they've got a space game, which is not the way to do it. You want to be thinking about how, just as simple as, you know, the music, does it fit this trailer? Does the music make me go like, oh shit, this game's cool? Even every single little shot, is every shot in your trailer doing a thing? Is every shot doing something? Because if that shot in the middle there is just, oh, we just put that shot in because it's another shot of the game, there's no point in it. You want to be thinking every single shot needs a purpose and you show a new thing in the game. It needs to just be exciting in some way. These are all of the things that we think about with every single trailer that we're doing. These are just some bullet points that I keep in my head for trailers. Making a long trailer, especially an announcement, is silly because you're still teasing it at that point. You don't want to splurge everything. Honestly, 40 seconds is long enough for a reveal trailer. Like I mentioned with the music, it's just got to make sense. And if you don't know what that means, go and find trailers where you've been like, this game trailer's amazing, and notice the music. Notice how you're like, oh shit, this music's perfect. You need those kind of things to be working for you, because the thing with the trailer is you are going to be able to use that for months to come to keep people interested in your game. You know, like the Descenders trailer, it got like 50,000 views in its first week. It's now on like 250,000 views, and people keep watching and watching and watching it and getting interested in the game. It's going to be a thing that's going to keep living on. So obviously you want to spend tons of time on it. Like I say, we did like a dozen iterations of the Descenders trailer. I think for Not Tonight, we maybe did about 6 or 7. It's still quite a lot. Like, you just keep going over and over. The first, second, third, fourth trailers you make will all be crap because you're just trying to put a thing in place. And you're just trying to work it out. You're trying to suss it out. Eventually, all of a sudden, it'll start getting good. You'll know the moment it starts getting good, and then you'll know the moment that it's perfect. This is what happens every single time I work with someone on a trailer. And you just want to get to that point because it really is that important. Right, this is the bit where I come off sounding like I'm some kind of Discord employee. I go on about Discord all the time. I promise they don't pay me. I just honestly think there's always a thing at every moment, right, that is like important. Twitch was the thing years ago. It was YouTube before that. There's always a thing at the time. And I think the thing right now is Discord. If you don't know what Discord is, this is Discord. If you've never seen this before, it's the best way to explain this. If you are over the age of 35, it's basically IRC, except it doesn't look crap. If you're younger, it's like Skype, except it works. It's essentially just a load of chat rooms. You make a server, and then you make a load of chat rooms in it, and then people can talk in the chat rooms. But there's a load of cool stuff you can do. You can give them permissions. You can give them colors. There's loads of bots, and you can make the bots do crazy stuff. I have been doing a lot of weird stuff with Discord. That if I described it to you, you probably wouldn't understand because it's so weird. But the cool thing with Discord, firstly, note that Discord now has over like 100 million registered users and has tens of millions of active users all the time. And them being on Discord probably means they like video games in some kind of form. So you're talking about this whole platform with tens of millions of people using it every day who all want to buy video games. That to me sounds kind of useful. I got in touch with Discord, and Discord they're massive, but they're also still at that point where they're still kind of small. And you can talk to one of the important people. When I went to GDC earlier this year, I just sat around with the CEO of Discord. Like, he's still, you know, with companies like this, they're always going to get to a point when all of a sudden they become big. Discord are still at that nice level where you can still talk to them. So I keep shouting at people, quickly get on in this stuff, just learn it. Even if you're like, I don't understand what this is and it looks weird, please just learn it quick. There's really not that much to it. And all of these things I've listed here are things that I have found have come directly from me having a Discord server. It's amazing, literally just like begging people on Discord to to wishlist games. When the game comes out, within the first 24 hours of having Descenders out, we had hundreds of positive reviews. We had like a 93% score. Yeah, the game's great. I'm not going to say it's not, but they were all just quickly like hammering positive reviews into Steam because they're so like die-hard Descenders now because they loved the Discord server. There's loads of cool stuff that come out of making a server. If you want to set one up yourself for your game, which I would say that you do before your announcement, you can set a server up. You can go to get in contact with Discord, ask them to verify it. They give you a little tick and give you like a discord.gg/ the name of your game. The big problem with having a Discord is people never know how to make people go in. I see people who've come to me and say, I set up a Discord and 30 people joined. I don't know how to make any more come in. The way that I get people to come into my Discord servers is by telling them that it's the only way for them to get my game for free in the beta form. And this is going to be the second step in this very long-winded process that I've got. But essentially, I tell them at the announcement, I say, hey, if you join this Discord server and put your details in here, then in a couple of months' time, you're going to get into the beta. And every time we had like, I think we had like 5,000 people join the Descenders one. We had like 4,000 people in the Not Tonight one. The Hypnospace one has 2,500. And people just keep coming more and more and more in. So I now have access. I can literally now do this little at everybody in one of these Discord servers, and it pings 5,000 people's phones. They all see it right there, and they all jump on, and they all start interacting with the thing I've just pinged at them. Again, I think nobody in this room would say that isn't kind of amazing for directly getting to people who have specifically signed up to the server because they like the look of your game. You see, we've never really had something like that before. You used to get someone to come in to like watch your trailer, and then where do they go? They then just disappear, and you hope that they remember your game in the future. Now you can literally tell them in the trailer, go here to sign up to the beta. It's really useful. If anybody does want to explore this stuff, I would suggest you set up a Discord server and you start messing around with this thing called DynoBot. I use DynoBot for a lot, and it essentially lets you do all kinds of crazy permission stuff in Discord. And it's pretty simple. It's incredibly simple, like permissions-based programming. Have a look at it. Right, how do you get press? This is a question that I've been answering in talks for the last 8 years. And now that I run my own publishing label, of course, it's even more important. Again, you're not going to just hope to get press, you're going to damn well get press, all right? Here is my process for getting press. All I do is, and to clarify, I have to do this less now because I know people, but this is a process that I would say suggests it works for newer people. You want to find people who are writing about games that look a bit like your game and that are active. So if let's say you go on IGN and you want IGN to cover your game. If you just email tips at IGN, they might cover it, they might do. But also there's about 100 people that receive that email. None of them, I don't know how it works at IGN, but when I used to write about games, if there was one like that, someone might grab it. It didn't really matter if it just fell down the chain. Maybe it would just get lost. Maybe no one's in that day. You just don't know what happens with it. I have just a way bigger success rate if you actually talk to a specific person who you think might be interested in the game that you are making. So if you go to IGN, and like it says, just look at the top X number of articles, and you try to find people who are active. You can see their authors. I'm used to doing this because I used to write about games, so I always look at who the author of an article is. I can't help it. Maybe you guys don't do that, but start doing it, especially when you're doing this. Just look at all the top articles and try and work out, okay, it seems like this person here plays the same kind of genre, and they seem to actually post quite a lot of stuff to IGN. Then go and see if you can find an email address. Maybe they've got one around. If they don't, a lot of the time the thing that works is just tweet at them and say, hey, I think maybe you might be interested in my game. Would it be cool if I could get in contact with you? And they'll probably tweet back at you just saying like, yeah, sure, DM me. Or yeah, sure, here's my email address. And then you start a dialogue with them. If that breaks down or if they clearly don't care, you can move on to a new person. I always say that even when it comes to stuff like press, you don't have to base it on luck. When I was about to announce Descenders, I knew everywhere we were going to get covered by, because I'd emailed them that morning saying, just checking, you are covering this, right? And they emailed me back saying, yeah, sure, was there any more info that we needed for it? And like, they didn't need to do that. I was a new, I was a completely new publisher that most of them had never heard of, and yet just from finding the right people and being persistent, I knew that when it was getting announced. I didn't base it on luck. I knew exactly which articles we were going to get. So I might have made that sound way more simplistic than it actually is, but I promise you this can work. It's a lot of the time it's about just not getting bogged down and feeling like crap. Like if someone's not responding to you and then going, oh, well, IGN don't give a shit then, so I'm going to leave. Go find someone else. Someone at IGN cares about the thing you're writing about. You just got to find them, is the problem. Now, this was the other thing I was talking about that I like to do. I like to, I give you a perfect concrete example of what I did when we announced Descenders. A big part of me announcing Descenders and trying to get as many views, etc. as possible is because I wanted to court one of the platform holders. I wanted one of the consoles to be interested in the game. And I thought the easiest way to do this, because I was a new publishing label, I should basically show what I'm made of and show what I've got, and then go to the platform holders and, armed with everything that I had, look how many people care about this thing and see if anyone was interested. And they were. Xbox ended up being incredibly interested in Descenders, and now I've got a cool thing going with them. This is the thing that you can do, and this is why the announcement can be incredibly important. If it doesn't go so well, or if you don't put a deal in place, it's not that big of a deal. I can't imagine with every single game that I work with, we're going to put some kind of deal like that in place. Some games we will, some games we won't. But this is just a nice extra thing that can potentially happen if you do manage to pull off a good announcement. Right, so you've done all the stuff that I've just said, and you've got a Discord filled with thousands of people. The next step is to get them to play this beta. I call it beta, but everybody I ever talk to in the Discord, they're all Americans. They're all like, beta, but I'm Northern, so shut up. So the reason I've got it like this is because it's clearly not a beta, is it, right? Like we all know what a beta is. It's not the thing that happens like 4 months before a game comes out. If anything, this isn't even really an alpha. This is just a build of the game that's happening at this point. But people understand the word beta. Like gamers understand what a beta is. It's the thing that's not the final game yet, but it's coming. Like the game's coming out soon, but it's not ready yet. So I always use this word. So it's as simple as we have a Google form that's in the Discord. We nudge them and say, yo, okay, beta's happening in about a month. And then we nudge them again, it's happening in 2 weeks. And then we'll do another little press blast. It's coming soon. Maybe for Not Tonight, we did a thing with PC Gamer where they gave away thousands of keys on PC Gamer. We basically just made sure that thousands of people were signed up. You make a separate product on Steam that's called whatever beta. You request a bajillion keys. You fire the keys at all of these people who have signed up with their email addresses using your Google form. And then all of a sudden, you have thousands of people playing your game. This is for two different purposes in my mind. One, yeah, it's kind of for testing purposes, and it can be very useful. We especially learned a lot when we were doing the Not Tonight beta about how people feel about the game works, and we've done things to that game now which have definitely made it better. But really, it's kind of a marketing thing as well, because you're getting lots of people to play the game, and then you rip it away from them a week later, and now they're in this Discord, and they've tasted the game, and now they want it. And you're saying, all right, well, it's coming soon now, so stick around, and you'll get it. And now they've got a thing to talk about as well, because before they were around in the Discord, and they were talking to each other, and maybe you were giving them reason to talk to each other, maybe you were giving them little, sneak peeks and stuff, but they didn't know what the game was yet. Now they do. So now they're all chatting about it, and someone new comes into the Discord and says, hey, what does anybody know about this game? And all the people who play the beta are like, oh my god, it's so good, I like this bit, I like this bit. So everybody who's coming in now is being bombarded by people who already love your game. I think you can get how this goes. It works incredibly well, and it really then helps you lead up to the part 3, which is essentially the period which I said earlier I think went on for too long with Descenders, where you're keeping people going. I've got to the point now where I think I've managed to perfect this a little bit more than I had with Descenders. In the Descenders Discord, I was doing these weekly challenges where I was saying to them, they'd all pick teams when they joined the Discord, and I was saying, oh, I'll pit you all against each other, and you'll earn things in the game when it comes out. And it was great, and there was a decent number of people who were kind of into it, but people also, after a while, started to fall away, because obviously it's hard to drag that kind of thing out for, sort of 4 or 5 months. With the Not Tonight Discord, a lot of people, when I was talking about the Descenders Discord, were saying, yeah, it seems like Descenders, though, is a good game for this kind of community. But if I was doing a linear single-player game, how are you going to do that? At the time, I didn't have an answer for them. And now the answer is, honestly, it's been even better. For Not Tonight, I essentially just made it so that they're all voting for people to be members of parliament and a prime minister in the server, and then I'm giving them horrible tasks to do each week. Then there's a spy in the government, and they've all got to try and work out. Everything I've learned from board games over the years, I'm making them just do that every week. And they are all paranoid and all like attacking each other. They've all just set up a Kingsguard, and they're all joining their own little they're making their own outside discords outside of the one I've made of their own revolutions and stuff. They did an inauguration of the king last Friday, where they all got in a channel, people played music, and they did speeches. Like hundreds of people, people recorded it. There's a press person in the channel now who is the official press, who had his own press channel, who does press for the rest of the server. I can't put across to you. You've got to join this Not Tonight Discord if you want to see the ridiculousness of what is possible with this thing. I thought that I'd done something silly with the Descenders one, and with the Not Tonight one, it's gone way further. I think with the Hypnospace server, it'll probably go further, because I've created the internet in a Discord server. The 90s internet, obviously. So, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that's possible, and it's got to the point now where Not Tonight's coming out in a few weeks, and I know for a fact that there are thousands of people in that server who are going to buy the game now, because they're telling me. Like, they're so into what we're doing. There's people messaging me every day. My phone's always going off, saying, like, is there going to be a special edition with the soundtrack so I can pay you more money? Like, I'd pay $10 for that. And this isn't just one person. This is all the time people are saying this to me, because we've created a space where they've already got hours and hours of enjoyment out of this thing I've created for them, and they've not paid for it yet. So in case I hadn't put this across to you enough, please get into Discord and understand all of the words I just said, because it's really important. I wanted to talk about streaming really quickly, because streaming is a weird thing now, where years ago it was really important. And I used to do talks where I was like, get on Twitch and talk to Twitch streamers and get streaming and all this. And now, honestly, it's started to get less important. It's still important for the big streamers who are, who have these giant audiences and are not and are playing games, because that's the whole point. That was the whole point of streaming in the first place, right? But streaming is quite frankly becoming less and less useful for developers, I think. And this is coming from someone who has been streaming for about 6 or 7 years. Currently, I don't bother with Twitch anymore, because I think it's pointless. I don't think it's pointless to clarify, I don't think it's pointless for me to send keys. So when Descenders came out, I sent keys to loads of Twitch streamers, and I was jumping in Twitch streams and trying to help them all play the game. I think that developer streaming on Twitch has become pointless, because Twitch, and again, this is not them, it's not like they're being nasty or anything, but they've become so big that they can't support everybody anymore. And if you do Twitch streams, you're gonna get, just 20, 30 people watching, and it becomes, quite frankly, pointless. It might feel nice that there's 20 to 30 people watching you, but really, are you using your time well? Mixer, the reason I keep going on about Mixer is because they are at the same, in fact, well, they're not at the same level as Discord yet, they're at the rising level. And they are at the point where they are growing rapidly. And if you get in touch with Mixer, I got in touch with Mixer and I said to them, I want to start streaming on Mixer, I'm a developer, and are there any opportunities? And they said, oh yeah, cool, here, we've verified your account, so you're a verified developer now. When you stream, you'll go front page. And now every time I stream on Mixer, I go front page in at least one of the 5 slots. A lot of the time in the middle slot for some reason. Yesterday, the ESL was streaming Counter-Strike, and when I streamed, I took their place in the middle. For some reason, everybody watched my stupid face. It's a really nice time because I will stream the day that Descenders came out on Xbox. I started streaming in the morning and I streamed for 9 hours, and we had at least 1,500 current people watching all day. And of course, Mixer is on the Xbox dashboard, so I was on the Xbox dashboard for 9 hours on Descenders Xbox launch day. What more can you ask for than being directly there? And there was just people filling the chat all the time. What is this? What is this? What is this? It's Descenders, please buy it. It's Descenders, please buy it. I would suggest you try Mixer. I don't know how it'll go for you. It might just be that I got lucky with the timing and it's just been useful for me, and I've got an Xbox game, so that's useful. But I would at least just try talking to Mixer, see what possibilities there are for you. Now, during this period between beta and launch, a lot of people are thinking about wishlists on Steam, and yeah, it is a thing you should be thinking about. I like to tell people when they say, how many wish lists should I have? There isn't a number you should have, but when I thought about this for a long time, I decided that the average person should probably realistically aim for about 10,000 wish lists. The general number is that you will sell about 10% of people who wishlist your game will convert before launch. So we're talking about in the first month, if you get 10,000 wish lists, you'll get about 1,000 sales from, and that's just from wish lists, by the way. It doesn't mean you'll just sell 1,000 copies. That means that's how many people will convert. I think that is, I would say that when you get to about 10,000 wish lists, then that means that your game is going to do like at least a base amount of well, which is why I think I've kind of, I just get asked this question so much, so I just had quite a hard think about it, and I feel like that is a good number to aim for. If you are currently working towards your launch and you have a way bigger number than that, then you're probably going to do quite well. If you've got a much lower number than that, don't worry, there are things you can still do. You could do like the beta stuff helps a lot, the stuff I was talking about earlier. You'll get a lot of signups. I find that in the 2 weeks, when you announce the launch date and actually launch the game, it'll skyrocket and you'll get thousands of wish lists between that time. But yeah, this is a number I think is worth aiming for. I should probably try to hurry up because I've only got 5 minutes left, haven't I? The other thing I want to quickly mention, this is really goddamn important. During this time as well, think about translations for your game because basically only about 40% of people who buy your game are actually English speaking. This is what I have found with all the games I've sold. Descenders was about 40% were English speaking. About 30% of people who bought Descenders were Chinese. And we paid for Chinese translations, and I think it cost us about, I think it cost about $400, something like that, to get the game translated to Chinese. I mean, in fairness, there wasn't a ton of words in Descenders, other than and all that kind of stuff. But it paid off massively for us, absolutely massively. China's been the second biggest country, and I've heard the same from a lot of different people. And of course, then I think Europe in general ends up being sort of 35% of your sales. So if you've translated your game into all of those languages, then there's just more chance that people are going to buy the game. We do it all through Discord. Again, I know I'm sorry. I promise I'm not working for Discord. For Descenders, we just thought, let's try putting it out. We put out a thing saying, hey, is anybody in here speak French and Spanish? Because we'd love some help. Immediately, my Discord messages just filled. with people wanting to help. And about 3 days later, we had full translations for the entire game in every language. It's really that easy. And then, to say thanks, we gave these people a game for free, and they were extremely happy about that. Really, really think about doing this, because this is a massive difference. It literally can make your game's sales double if you do this. Right. When you get to the release, the whole point of everything I've just been mumbling about up to now has been to get to this point where you know that your game is going to sell now, because you've got all of the numbers to prove it. You've got these wish lists, you've got all these people in Discord who are like rabid about your game. You know that you are at least now going to sell a base number of copies. And now all you're thinking about is building on top of that, and of course getting a little bit of luck as well. And when it does come to the release, you have got to know that those things that you don't want to do, that are going to make you cringe really hard, you've got to do them. You've got to do them. When your game is coming out, how long have you been working on this thing, right? How long have you been working on this thing? And now you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to bother that person in case they... No, just do it. Mike Biffle, I message him every single time I need him to retweet something. If you know people, message them. Because it's important, right? It's your livelihood, it's your business, it's the thing you've created. Annoy people, irritate them, make them tweet about your thing, make them retweet you, make them share it. Pull in every single favor you've got, because it's that important. You can't do it afterwards, right? Later on, it doesn't matter anymore. It's this moment you need people to buy your game at launch. So just start irritating everybody you know. And getting press to write about it. Do the thing that I was talking about earlier, except this time, be sending them Steam keys instead, right? It's the same process, except you're firing Steam keys at them. We're very close to the end, I promise. A massive thing that you're all going to do wrong is you're going to price your game wrong. I know this for a fact because I see people do it all of the time. Even I do it. I literally, just weeks ago, changed my mind about what the price of Not Tonight was going to be, because I started to wonder, worry, oh, maybe people will perceive it like this. And then I was like, no, screw that. The game is worth so much more. You know that your game is worth a lot, right? And yeah, everybody's pricing their game at $10 to $15. Who cares? They're all wrong, okay? If you want to price your game higher and you think that it's worth higher, then that's a thing that you should at least consider. You might think if I'm going to price my game at $12 or something. Well, why not 15, 16, 17? It's only $4, $5, $6 more, right? But that's per sale. How much does that end up adding up to? If you sell 2,000 copies of your game, how much does that end up being if you're charging an extra $5 for your game? I'm not standing here saying, just add $5 to it. Who cares, whatever. Screw the consumer. That's not what I'm saying. It's more that I think that people are pricing their games wrong in the first place. When I was a kid, I remember saving up and buying Donkey Kong 64 for 70 quid. What happened? Why are we why am I having to sell games for a tenner now? Yeah, I think this is a thing you should really think about. I think the other point about this is as well that if you do price your game higher, I know for a fact that people will look down a list of games that are coming out soon and will pick yours out and go, oh, I'll check this one out because it is a higher price, because they'll perceive that there might be something, well, why does this person think that they could charge $5 more? Everybody's probably done it. You're looking down a list and there's a game that's $40 in between a bunch of $10 and you think, what is this? And you at least click it, right? It's just a thing that I wish people would think about more. We charged $25 for Descenders. I had to push for that. Rage Squid were like, oh, I don't know if people are going to pay that. I wish I'd pushed for $30 now, to be honest, because we've been charging $25 and people are just constantly like, whoa, this is great value for money. I can't believe I only paid this amount. And now I kick myself every day. Right. The very final thing, I promise, when you launch your game, you will goddamn hate yourself. It doesn't matter how it goes. You can sell 1 million copies and you'll go to the pub and you'll be like, God, I hate my life, I want to die. Everybody does. Everybody does. Descenders launch day, I was down at the pub crying into a beer because I was like, oh God, it's not done as well as I thought it'd done. And it's done bloody great. But because the game was coming out and I was, incredibly invested in it, I hated myself. Don't do that. I know it's easy for me to stand here and go, don't do that. Please don't do that because, and especially don't continue to do that because the weeks that follow the launch of your game are massively important. We, in the first, the first week of sales that we got, we then, a couple of months later, had quadrupled those. And I know people who haven't quadrupled those and take a year to quadruple them because they put their game out and they go, oh God, it's done crap. And then they disappear and they leave it. I got friends who have done that over and over again. Don't do that because you've got people who are going to continue to buy your game. And if you continue to show support, how many times have you been on Steam forums or whatever, and people are like, oh, great devs here, really supportive and all this? It actually helps. It really helps. If you continue to support your game, even for just a couple of months afterwards, it will continue to at least, the tail will be just that little bit longer, which can really, really help. I'm nearly at the end, I promise. So yeah, a lot of this is kind of what I'm talking about. You just gotta keep doing it. Everything I'm talking about, just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it at the end. Please don't fall off at the end. Please do not. It's the perfect way to kill your game. If you keep going and going and going, just right at the end there, you just don't run out of steam. It can really, really help. Console ports. Quick thing about this. Sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. What I mean by that is, don't just be like, oh, we're going to release our game on every single platform all at the same time, because you're probably not, and also you will die. Just doing one console port, if anybody's in here has done one, they'll know that it is the worst. The most of the time, plan for PC, and then if the PC version does well, then start to do this stuff. Console ports are great. Descenders, now it's on Xbox and PC, so now it's selling pretty much twice as well as it was. Can't believe he's leaving, that's rude. Yeah, so, it can really help, but also, you could spend ages on an Xbox port, and then it doesn't bloody sell on Xbox, and you just wasted your time, and you made yourself want to die. A lot of the time, just push it out of your mind for a second, all right, and just focus on the PC. You can always come back to the console port later. It's not like putting out a PC version will kill a console port later. Right, I'm at the end now. This is pretty much too long, didn't read. I know a lot of this has sounded horrible, but there are so many ways now to still make your game sell, and a lot of it takes effort, and a lot of it is horrible. I know a lot of it, you probably listen to most of this and were like, I'm not doing any of that. If you are one of those people, fine, but at least try and find someone to do it for you. If it's just a part-time person doing some of this, or even if you have to sign up with some evil publisher who steals your soul, that's fine, but just really, please, if you don't do all of this stuff, your game is probably going to go out and die, and that will be horrible. And I don't want that to happen to you. I don't know you, most of you, but I don't want that to happen to you. Right, that's it. I'm done, I promise. Thank you. I assume I don't have time for questions because I took so long. I don't know. Who's in charge here? Am I in charge? I'm in charge. Is there any questions? Yes. Oh, it's you. Go on.
How much of what you talked about there, as a percentage-wise, would you say the success of the game is when considering things like your process for signing the game in the first place, and other aspects that add up to, you as a publisher putting a game out and ensuring its success?
You mean how much of that is important versus why I picked the game in the first place?
Yeah.
So basically how good the game is?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much?
Yeah. Yeah, it is important. It is important. It is, yeah. Through all of this, it is important that your game is good. Of course it is. A lot of the time, some crap games sell well. Of course they do. The thing that I always think, though, is I think that people who making good games end up making all of the good decisions like this. To be honest, I think, and this might be naive, but I think that people who are making cool games and are making something that might actually sell are the people who, for example, end up coming to a talk like this, where they're like, well, I'm making something cool, and I do give a shit, and I want it to sell well. Obviously that's not gonna be for every game, but I do genuinely. I think as well that if you are, it's going to sound harsh. I think if someone's making something where they don't think it's as good, they won't do as much of this stuff, because in the back of their minds they'll be like, maybe I don't want people to see my game because I'm not so pro my own game. I feel like there's a lot of that. I do see a lot of games where I see them and I'm like, oh, and then I see they've done like no marketing and I think, I know why you didn't. Like, again, I know that sounds horrible, but like I think that's what happens. And I think everybody has that. I think there's things I've done in my life, not to do with video games, but other things where I'm like, I'm going to talk about that thing because I'm an idiot. So yeah, I think the answer is yes, but it maybe feeds through. Yeah, pretty much. Any more questions? Hello?
Yeah, you mentioned about trailers.
Yes.
Killer trailers.
Killer trailers.
We all know that, you showed your sketches there, your kind of roadmap and stuff. There are opportunities for that reveal. We know often when other things are coming out,
Yep.
when the game's going to drop. Let's say you didn't want it that week for your reveal, but your trailer wasn't good enough. Would you hold it? So you've got that killer
Sorry, what was the second bit you said?
Would you hold your announcement?
If what happened? It was the bit just before that I missed.
Oh, right, sorry. So, you've got your week, you've earmarked your week because you
Yeah.
know, okay, that's going to be a quiet week. Maybe it's the kind of like, the posting three games involved, like we think it's quiet, but of course it's not.
Yeah.
Whenever you want to go to pick your schedule, would you hold and wait another week to reiterate on the trailer?
I think my brain's not working. So are you saying what? Explain.
Trailer's not good enough.
If the trailer's not good enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it until you're ready. Yeah, don't, because you only get one, right?
You've got a trailer though that's there or thereabouts.
No, that's no. No. Did you not read the slide? I want goosebumps. No. You wait. You wait and you get it there.
Risk extra competition, but know that you've got the trailer.
No, because there'll always be another opportunity, won't there? It's not like if you pick this perfect date and now if you miss it, oh, that's it. Got to wait a year now. There's too many games. You're always going to find it. If you rush these things, then if you've got a so-so trailer, great. Go away and make it good, because everyone's made a so-so trailer. Do you really want to? If this thing's so important to you, do you really want to show a so-so version of it? No. Make it really good. I'm really serious when I talk about the Goosebumps thing. I literally, that's the thing I do. I wait until I'm sat there and I go, oh wow, yeah, this is it now. That's it. There we go. That's what I wait for. Because if I'm doing that to my own game, then there's a chance other people will do that as well. Yeah. Cool. I answered that one. Any more? Hello. Oh, right time. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.